All right, good Saturday morning. It is 6:43. We're tracking Winter Storm Yoshi. Here it is now. It's over the Ohio Valley and the Great Lakes, and you can see pretty much a 50-50 on the snow to the north, the rain to the south. There isn't very much in the way of mixed precipitation detected by the radars yet across this part of the world. But as this moves to the east, I think we are going to see a little layer of sleet and freezing rain starting to develop in the midsection here. And that's the zone we're probably going to be in, where we're going to see snow changing to an icy mix to even that plain rain for a while during the course of tomorrow. You can see out there right now, let's take this full screen. I've got the early warning pinpoint Doppler as the backdrop, and in the foreground we have what our weather watchers are seeing in terms of temperatures. So if we can take that full screen, you'll see that in East Bristol, Nancy has 28, in Killingworth, Ed has 24. In Falls Village, we do have Cindy saying 28 degrees, so it's cold enough now for wintry precipitation, but as you see with the early warning pinpoint Doppler, which by the way you can get on the Channel 3 app at any point, there is no precipitation to be had yet, and there won't today. The clouds will just increase. Here's where temperatures will go. Below freezing, they'll stay. Mid-20s in northwestern Connecticut, 31 in Hartford, 32 in New Haven, and 32 in New London. A standard cold winter day. Winter coats and so forth, certainly not a bad idea today, but when we talk about the next coming days, a few of them, you're really going to want the true winter gear. Overnight tonight, as Yoshi develops snow across the state, that starts to develop between, I'd say, 6 and 10 p.m. It's going to have a hard time getting started, but once it gets started, especially by 10 o'clock, it's steady snow, and it could be heavy snow for several hours before switching to some sleet and freezing rain, and then eventually during the wee hours of the morning, plain rain, especially during in the southern half of the state. So here's our Futurecast tomorrow's weather today. I'm starting it at 6 p.m. because that's when things start to really get going here, especially across the western side of the state. We might see snow. Here's about 7 o'clock. It's trying to get into the Hartford area. Some of this early snow detected by the model. Sometimes you have to say, there might be give or take on this by a couple hours because it has to go through some dry air first before it reaches the ground, and sometimes it takes a little longer. But I'd say by about 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, it's snowing, and here's midnight. It's widespread snow, except along the shoreline. We might already have a little bit of an icy mix. And then you see that icy mix and plain rain moving north. There's about 2:30, there's about 6, there's about 9. Notice how we're hanging on to that icing, though, in northern Connecticut for several hours. And you can see plain rain and or icing with either sleet or freezing rain tapering off by the mid or late afternoon on Sunday. We might still see some showers of wet snow during the later part of this, but I don't think we'll see much more accumulation from that. Here's what some of the models are saying in terms of snow accumulation. The GFS is saying very little across southeastern Connecticut, Hartford maybe a couple, 3 inches, and then you see it ramps up to the north. Here's what the NAM is saying, very similar, but man, these numbers are down from what we've been talking about before. Here is what the European model is saying in terms of snow totals, and you can see again, it's got Hartford about 3 or 4. It's got very little across southeastern Connecticut, and you can see across northwestern Connecticut the most amount of snow. And then the other issue, of course, is going to be icing too, but here's what our model is saying. This is our internal model, very similar to what the others are saying as well. So when you take a look at our official forecast, I think I'd focus on the lower numbers as probably the more likely total of snow and slush that you'll get. So the coating, the 3, the 6 is probably closer to what we're seeing at least now. And the problem is when you add icing to that, and then you increase the wind, like the windcast is suggesting will happen, you will have ice on top of trees and then wind tossing those trees around a bit, and we could have some of those branches coming down, and when that happens, you might have problems with power outages, especially later in the day on Sunday. And then when you have the power outage coming in tandem with then Arctic air that comes in on Sunday night, it gets really cold without power. And your furnace, a lot of furnaces rely on at least a little electricity for the starter. You know, you might have some problems with keeping your house warm if you don't have another way of doing it during Sunday night and Monday. So I'm sure that, you know, fuel companies have all of their service workers ready to go. Plumbers are probably, it might be a busy time for you guys. And one of the problems with icing is it's harder to get around. Right, and well, Monday's going to be awfully cold if you lose power. Yeah, so hopefully you have like a fireplace or you have a wood stove or... And you know what, we should mention, it's a good day to download the Channel 3 app because
if you can't turn your TV on tomorrow, if you lose your power, you know, you can stay updated on the Channel 3 app. You can watch us live, and then you can access the Doppler, so you can still figure out what's going on and what's happening if you don't have access to your TV.
Having that phone on the charger caddy today, not a bad idea, just in case.
Maybe leave it there all day.
And hopefully we're saying this for nothing, you know?
Yes.
So.
But no, I mean, with, you know, obviously with ice, we all think power outages weighing down the lines.
Yeah, absolutely.